Okay, my name is Mitch Bolo, here with a candidate for the upcoming KBIC election. Please tell us your name and in what district you are running.
My name is Gary Loonsfoot Jr., and I am running out of the Lawrence District. I am incumbent.
All right, the following is a list of questions collected from the KBOCC student body and staff, the KBIC Facebook page, the new Tribal Members Facebook group, KBIC Members, and off-reservation KBIC Members. The questions were reviewed and summarized by the students of the AS232 Tribal Government class at the KBOCC and finalized by me, Mitch Bolo, here at Eagle Radio. So question number 1, what qualities do you believe a good tribal council member should have?
Following the 7th-generation teachings, respect right off the bat. You should be able to look at the CEO just as you would the janitor. I think that's important. I address everybody, and those that don't vote for me or didn't vote for me, it's my obligation to get out there and win your approval. I represent everybody, not just those that did vote for me, but, those that didn't. I want to win you over and, show that, hey, I'm doing this for everybody. All the new ventures that we're getting into, this is to benefit the tribal community as a whole, not just one district and not just certain individuals.
All right, question number 2. What type of educational, professional, or other experience do you have that you believe will help you if you are chosen as a tribal council member?
Okay, well, I have 6 years experience on tribal council. Education-wise, I'm accredited away from criminal justice correction certification. I've attended several semesters of language immersion through Bay Mills Community College. I am certified in asbestos abatement, lead abatement, certified in welding. Actually, I'm a contractor for asbestos. I took the extra long course there. So a lot of, I've taken a lot of classes, but never really focused on, getting a degree. My son and I will be showing up over at OCC, signing up for classes this semester. So education is a continual thing that I believe that, should be carried on, but experience carries a lot of weight as well. I get to deal with a lot of representatives from the state and federal level, and I believe that experience has brought me a long way.
All right, question number 3. What do you believe are the biggest issues within our tribe today, and how do you plan to address them?
The biggest issues seem to be misinformation and disinformation, and to address those issues, we need to hold more community meetings. We have to have access to, the council meetings, a little better IT. I'm not going to rag on them. It is what it is. We need to invest a little more in that, but it's getting the correct information and stats and data, the truth to the community, and not believing everything we see on social media. I mean, that's our biggest problem, is our division. And our division is created by disinformation, misinformation, and those that choose to not acknowledge or accept facts.
All right, number 4, this one is 3 parts. What is your knowledge when it comes to 1, Robert's Rules of Order, 2, the 7 grandfather teachings, and 3, the other traditional Anishinaabe teachings? So 1, what's your knowledge when it comes to Robert's Rules of Order?
Robert's Rules of Order was established many years ago, and it's how a meeting is conducted. We kind of run quasi or semi Robert's Rules of Orders, but when it comes down to it, the Robert's Rules of Orders platform was voted down by the Tribal Council many years ago. This gives us the flexibility to not have to adhere to, policies and procedures that were established for non-traditional government.
All right, next in that one was the 7 grandfather teachings. What's your knowledge there?
The 7 grandfathers teachings are posted all on the wall. They serve as a great guideline, but it's apparent that we're not following them. And, what we do in that council chamber is reflective of our community as a whole. So when people see us not showing respect to one another, I think that permeates into the community, and that seems to be a big issue right now, is that we're not doing what we're supposed to.
All right, what about other traditional Anishinaabe customs?
Other traditional teachings and customs, I've, as Tribal Historic Preservation Officer, I've had a couple years of doing that, and I've been exposed to the teachings. I grew up, unfortunately, not really having access to that as a young man. I was raised Catholic. up until the point where, I could realize that, hey, something's not right here with dogmatic law, because of this has to be true. It really didn't make sense to me. So I've been finding, different avenues and different religions. And, I love theology itself, but me personally, I'm lean more towards atheism. I think that common sense and laws should be dictated by, what the community wants and needs, and not so much based on belief, but on what can be proven. People kill and die for beliefs. Ideas can be changed.
Number 5, what is your opinion on communication, transparency, and accountability within the tribal council?
Oh, 100%. All for all of it. Transparency, this is, since we've started recording the meetings and broadcasting them, have been very transparent on what we are doing. Especially in like my field with cannabis, we are audited constantly. There's 2 audits that are required by the state. We've also had a forensic audit just recently done with no findings. That's important. You can't trust your government if they're not going to release facts and data, and that to me is huge. So, releasing the information, having it available is paramount. But at the same time, on some issues, especially when we're speaking about personnel, there's a lot of people that don't want their information out there. And another point is, we don't want to violate federal law when it comes to health issues, stuff like that. We don't want to engage in HIPAA violations because we want to be transparent. People still have the rights to privacy. So when it comes to personnel issues, I think we need to keep a lid on it. And then when it comes to strategizing businesses, we also kind of have to keep a tightrope on it as well.
All right, number 6, what are your feelings regarding blood quantum?
Well, blood quantum was established by the federal government, to basically, bleed us out. You cannot build a full-blooded native, but there are ways to combat that. So there are other tribes that said, okay, everybody on the rolls today are now 100% native. It's a real touchy subject. It's kind of a double-edged sword because, as somebody that we used to hand out the checks for Christmas time, and there were tribal members that I've never seen before that would come out once a year, they meet the blood quantum, but then you have descendants that are at the powwows and are at ceremonies. And so how do we define who is Indian is, very much so up for debate. But I think that our blood quantum issue probably won't change until we start seeing a decline in enrollment and in membership. And unfortunately, right now, we are still seeing an incline. So when we start seeing a decline, I think is when we'll end up addressing this, because we end up being more proactive than reactive than proactive.
All right, number 7, what do you think can be done to encourage tribal members who currently reside elsewhere to live within our community?
I think that just this being our homelands, and once being the Ontonagon Band of Ojibwe, we're Lake Superior. This is where everybody should want to live. I realize that people, a lot of the argument is, well, we moved away for a better life or more opportunities. So those that stay, to me, are sacrificing, and that's why I feel it's imperative to make sure that they're taken care of first, and the homelands are, because all the members that have moved away will always have a place to come back to. And that's why we're working on our infrastructure here, our housing, education, economic stability. We can't help anybody else until we help ourselves first. And we have to make sure that this environment is set up to take care of everybody. I mean, they tell you on an airplane, when the oxygen mask drops, make sure yours is on first before you help anybody else.
Number 8, in your opinion, what can we do to encourage and support our youth to be active in the community?
Well, it's, I think, getting involved as parents. It's easy to say we want our youth involved, but if we don't have the time to sacrifice and go out and chaperone their involvement, we always want them to do this and that. And, it's easy to drop them off and say, we expect this. But if the parents aren't there to say, okay, well, this one time I'm going to volunteer to oversee it, we can wish this all on our kids, but if we're not willing to strap on the boots ourselves and go out there and help, it's going to fall on deaf ears. And unfortunately, right now, we don't have the capacity and the manpower at our youth facilities to, bring all these kids out, because they do want to get out. They do want to help. And I think we as parents and as a community need to step up as well.
All right, number 9, what is your opinion on the topic of tribal members living off the reservation in regards to voting and other rights?
Well, me personally, I have a personal opinion about this, and I'll just start with the non-personal opinion, and that is the community voted on this, and these are the same community members that have elected me to represent them. So until their voice changes, my voice will remain in solidarity with them. Secondly, I don't think, somebody who does not follow or submits to the jurisdiction of the tribe should have the right to choose who its lawmakers are or its judges. So if you're not subject to our laws, why would you create our laws, and why would you want to? I don't understand that part, because if you're Canadian and you move to the U.S. and you're no longer a Canadian citizen, you can't vote in their elections. And that's how I feel about that.
All right, number 10, which section or sections, if any, of the KBIC Constitution would you like to see changes to? Please explain. I
would not change the Constitution. I think it's, well written. Some of the things, well, actually, I would be remiss if I didn't include this part, would be to take the Secretary of Interior's approval out of it. We don't need Whitehair's approval for our laws and what our community wants to see. That would be my only change. As a lawmaker who follows the Constitution, I don't think it would be appropriate for us to do it, but that would be something that the community would need to do, is change the Constitution.
Number 11, previously a code of ethics for the Tribal Council was proposed but not enacted. What is your opinion on the Tribal Council being subject to a code of ethics?
I am fine with ethics. That would be up to our community to establish. We've had a code of ethics come before us before that we really didn't agree with, and when you have somebody who's either on the board or has an opinion that creates these ethics, they might not be the same ethics that everybody else believes. That's the thing about it, but there are some things, that we should and should not be able to do, and, that has to be spelled out and expressed by our voters and our community on what they want to see from us as lawmakers and as their representatives.
All right. And number 12, to end this interview, go ahead and address the voters directly.
Hi, my name is Gary Loonsfoot. I'm running for council for re-election. I'm looking for your support. In this capacity, as lawmakers, we have an obligation and a responsibility to the voters, and I feel that, I've lived up to that and will continue to do so, and would like everybody to know that even if not elected, I will continue to represent the community in a great positive way and do what's best for everybody as a whole. And I look forward to your support, and thank you very much.